when you look at coding specifically and then expanding out to other verticals and categories, do you think that there needs to be more model breakthroughs, more intelligence in the models, or do you think we need to focus more on the scaffolding around it, the tools, the understanding of how to get the most out of the models?
The scaffolding really matters a bunch. Like my team at Microsoft, like I have a research team that runs underneath me in the office of the CTO, and that's all we've been focusing on for the last 3 years is AI coding, like building scaffolding around models. We don't train models. We don't even fine tune them. We just use them as is and see what we can get out of them. We've consistently found that we get more leverage out of the model, even as the models are getting better. For like the first year or two, we were really worried. We were like, oh, eventually these are going to get so good, we're going to have nothing to add. It'll just be like the model and nothing else. But it seemed to be the case pretty durably that scaffolding adds leverage to the models, no matter how good the models get. So I definitely think there's like a lot of work to be done there. You can see lots of, like the scaffolding is, control planes and best practices and work patterns. We have this thing we call recipes, which is a mixture of code and where the code does some metacognition and the model does the work. And like those, we're building those out a bunch, and you kind of see those patterns starting to emerge more and more, mostly in the coding community, but they're starting to emerge in other places. So like, and that'll just feed back into the model getting better too.
So, Sam, you worked closely with Aaron Levy at Box in the very
Yep.
early days. Yeah. So, friend of the show. I wanted to talk because he is prolific on X talking about the
Yeah.
agent and human relationship, the future of work. So, I want to talk about that a little bit. Do, like, do you see this collaboration with humans and agents? How do you see it changing? Do you think humans will always be in the loop? I think Srinivas said that when you look at an agent, it can go middle to middle, but not necessarily end to end, and humans
Yeah.
still need to prompt and verify. Do you believe that? What are some of your thoughts on how humans and agents are going to interact in the future?
Yeah, I think that like I believe humans will still be in the loop. It's kind of funny because when people worry about like AI replacing jobs, I kind of laugh. I'm like, man, it'd be kind of nice if it replaced my job because I'm more busy now than I've been.
Mm.
I haven't been writing code for the last decade or something, and now I'm writing code. I've got like 8 amplifier sessions open right now, like in the background of building like 3 different apps and a bunch of different stuff. So like what you find very quickly, at least with the agentic coding. And by the way, like I'm really like skeptical. I hate the word agent. I've hated it for a long time, but what's going on in coding now really feels genuinely like agents to me. So I'm starting to use that language. But what you find is you saturate, like kick it off and it's fine. But like, another one I have going right now is a desktop app that I'm building that's like a collaboration tool. And it spent the night testing it. It thinks it's successful, and I booted it up and it looks okay, but I need to spend like an hour or two just like really to talk to each other, anymore. So it's almost like the 3-person team is really like a 30-person team.
So
Um,
at the point of saturation, does that mean that we need to increase automation and maybe the agents need to
well,
do more reviewing?
that's what everyone's trying to do. Like we're all working on this kind of different kinds of hierarchy and stuff like that, right? Organization is big enough, all the problems interlock. Like every solution makes a different problem worse. It's like it's really really hard thing to have. It's like probably that's what's going to happen actually. Like well, you'll have these large agentic fleets that you're working with. They can't all be bugging you because you just don't, there's not enough time in the day to be bugged by all of them. So they have to mostly be independent, but that means when they're not independent, they're stuck on something legitimate, pretty serious. And so like you're going to get, the more work you're doing, the harder the problems that are going to come to you as the manager of this mob of agents, I think. So I think that that's, we'll build those hierarchical tools, but they're, complexity is kind of irreducible at the end of the day.
And we're talking a lot about code, but we asked our previous guest a little bit about non-code
Yep.
areas, and it just seems like we need to help organizations understand how to implement artificial intelligence better. Obviously, engineering organizations are very much at the forefront, and they're kind of eating this up as soon as it comes. But non-engineering organizations
Yep.
may be culturally a little bit afraid of it and don't know how to implement it. Like, what is the solution
You
there?
start to find champions, first of all, right? Like you can't change the whole organization at once. You start to find bits and pieces of the organization that are better, that can optimize themselves. You have to take a system perspective, right? So if you get 90% of the organization to go much faster with AI, but there's some bottleneck somewhere that's doing it the old way, you're not really going to, you can do the math, you're not really improving yourself very much. So, you do have to like have the system perspective of looking for the next bottleneck and figuring out how to unblock that bottleneck one thing at a time, essentially.